Camille Paglia is back with us. She wrote a new column, and she talks about a nationwide orgy of rage and spite. How are you?
Hi, Sean.
Are we gonna go drinking one day? Because I heard you went out with a reporter and drank with them for 8 hours, and you told the best stories. Is that true?
Oh, well, there were 2 meals in the middle of that, but I do love beer.
Okay, I'll give you all the beer you want. Here's what I want to... Last time we had you on, and it's funny because a really conservative friend of mine wrote me about you this weekend, and he said, did you ever hear of this woman? I'm like, yeah, I love her. She's a great writer, and she's smart, and she's a feminist, and she's outspoken and iconoclastic. I said all this stuff about you, and you got to read this. Last time you were on, that was pre-ISIS pose, pre-assassination attempts of Republicans, pre-Shakespeare in the Park, and then I read your column, An Orgy of Rage and Spite. I wanted to get your thoughts.
Well, I'm a Democrat, and I voted for Bernie Sanders in the last election season.
Yeah. By the way, you got screwed. They stole it from you.
Well, I'm committed to the reform of my party, okay? and I am looking forward to voting Democratic again, in the next presidential election, hopefully. But all this rage, completely misplaced. I mean, it seems to me that who my fellow Democrats should be mad at is the Democratic National Committee and Hillary Clinton, for heaven's sake. So that's what they should be mad at. We had plenty of potential nominees, okay, who could have countered Trump, I believe, in the election. Leading the pack is Joe Biden, and nobody's asking any questions. Why was it that President Obama stepped on Biden? What was going on behind the scenes, okay, that produced that scandal, right? Because Biden would have won, in my view.
Well, I think maybe he would have done better, but I'm not so sure because Biden is just a walking soundbite of stupidity at times. I mean, he can't, you can't go to a 7-Eleven or a Dunkin' Donuts unless you have a slight Indian accent. I mean, does say a lot of dumb stuff.
But Biden has a long history, okay, of these gaffes and so on. But he has great rapport, okay, with ordinary people, all right? And he is a moderate. He's people are familiar with him. There were so many doubts about Trump because he was an unknown, all right? And so I do believe that given how close the election was, okay, that Biden would have pushed it over. So all this rage with this massive tantrum, all the Democrats are doing is demonstrating they should not lead. Okay, they're demonstrating we are the party you should not elect. Are they crazy, this behavior? Okay, I want the Democrats to win. I want them to have a winning strategy, and it doesn't come from this kind of this hatred, okay, of half the nation that voted for Trump. Okay, to insult people. Trump wasn't elected because of racism, okay, homophobia, and so on. Trump was elected, okay, because he defeated all those nudniks, okay, in the GOP primaries who were not nearly good enough. And if Trump manages to improve the economy and produce more jobs, in this country, he will be reelected. It's simple as that.
What do you make of all of the violent rhetoric? I mean, for example,
it's obscene. It's outrageous. Okay, it shows that the Democrats are nothing now but words and fantasy and hallucination and Hollywood. Okay, there's no journalism left. What's happened, okay, to the New York Times? What's happened to the major networks? It's an outrage. I am a professor of media studies in addition to a professor of humanities, okay? And I think it's absolutely grotesque the way my party has destroyed journalism right now. It's going to take decades to recover from this atrocity that's going on, where the news media have turned themselves over into the most childish, fraternity kind of buffoonish behavior.
This is why I love your writing so much. You've got this flair that nobody else I know has. One of the things that I've kind of pride myself a little bit on is being right a lot. And this is not spoken out of egotism or arrogance. Because we waited way back early in my career, I waited on Richard Jewell. I ended up being right. I waited on Trayvon Martin. I was right. The media was wrong. Ferguson, Missouri, same thing. Baltimore, same thing. And Duke Lacrosse is another case. But I was also right about Obama's policies would not be good for America. I think the facts bear that out now. And I think was also right that Trump could win. And now we live in a world of conspiracy theory, black helicopter conspiracy theory TV. You say it's going to take decades to recover. I don't see how they can ever recover.
Well, journalism has really collapsed partly because of the arrival of the web, which I adore. I love writing for the web. But as the different cities, the regional newspapers have foundered and in some cases disappeared, what we're getting now is this concentration of news reporting coming from the coasts, okay, which is really bad. Okay, so we're not getting the kind of voices of the heartland, okay, that we used to. Not only that, but education has changed so that young people are not getting any exposure to history. Okay, they know nothing about world history. They know nothing about world geography. Okay, they don't know. They're taught to have positive attitudes and to be humane and compassionate and so on, but they're not taught the basic framework of world history. This is why you get all this crap about how America is the worst place on earth when it's like the freest country in the history of the world. And young people today have had absolutely no exposure to the famines and the war and the disasters, okay, of history. They need to be exposed to the past, and they have no sense of the past whatever. Everything's the present.
It's so interesting you say that, because one of the things I fear is that we're living in a bubble in terms of people's lack of education, lack of even simple, basic, fundamental curiosity. And, when I wrote a book years ago called Deliver Us from Evil, I really just laid out the previous 100 years of human history. You got over 100 million dead people slaughtered in the name of government.
Yes.
Okay, It seems to me that there is an ostrich in the sand type of quality to the world today, where there are people that don't think this can happen again in the age of ISIS, radical Islam, mullahs in Iran, North Korea. And I'm like, you people better wake up. We have the potential for a human catastrophe like we've never seen before, and don't think it can't happen. It will.
Well, all it will take is someone to figure out how to sabotage the power grid in the United States.
Bingo.
And everything will collapse. We're going to return to savagery and barbarians in the street and famine. Okay, again, right? And so all these people who can they assume they can just switch on a light and turn on a faucet and everything works. They have no sense of how it works. Business, okay, and the material frame of culture, okay, and capitalism, okay, which emancipated the modern woman, right? And so there's all this rhetoric. Now, you see, I've been saying for 25 years, right, that people need religion. Now, I'm an atheist, okay, but I predicted 25 years ago, okay, that secular humanism was on the skids. And that's what's happened, because secular humanism has no spirituality left to it.
I want to take your class. We'll take a break. We'll come back. Camille Paglia is with us, and even though it's spelled P-A-G, it's Paglia. Did I say it right? I think I did.
Paglia is the way I say it.
Paglia. All right. Well, I get it. I got to get something right in my life for once. 800-941-SEAN is our toll-free telephone number. We'll have more with Camille on the other side of this break. Camille Paglia is with us, author of the book, by the way, Free Women, Free Men, Sex, Gender, Feminism. And we're talking about our latest column, which is about the Democrats' nationwide orgy of rage and spite. I've had to deal with something that really my entire career, but it's just come to the forefront, I think, because people see that the message that I have, and it's not anything I'm doing, I would argue, but the things I believe in, a lot of people agree with. And now they want to silence conservative voices. And you see the attacks by these Clinton-funded Soros groups and people paid, Camille, to monitor every minute of every day of every conservative host on radio and TV. That's liberal fascism to me. You're an outspoken liberal. What do you think of this effort?
Well, the point is there's a real tunnel vision here, because in point of fact, the rise of talk radio, starting with Rush Limbaugh in the early 1990s, was entirely due, to the monopoly that liberal voices had on the networks and the major big city newspapers. The rise of talk radio is absolutely crucial to produce some sort of ideological balance, in the country. All this outside funding and this manipulation and so on, these shadowy forces, behind the scene. The Clintons specialized in that, which is another reason my party should be outraged at the Clintons, and everything Clinton-esque, should be banished, because of this exact kind of, these paranoid conspiracies, the Brock, all those those like Machiavellian types that Hillary loves to collect around her. This nation really dodged a bullet, okay, as far as I'm concerned, in keeping the Clintons and the Clinton establishment out of the White House.
Well, I agree with that. And, I actually think that this is now, with all of the investigative creep, you've got all the media with their just lying on a nightly basis, and you put in the deep state leaking day in and day out because they don't like the choice of the American people. I think this is now a real clear present danger, and there's a chance that they may be successful in undermining this president. And if that happens, do you think I'm overreaching to say that I think America as we know it is done?
Well, what I was predicting for months is that if Trump was elected, which he was, what we would have is a smashing of the establishment in three big areas. The establishment of the Republican Party would be smashed, that of the Democratic Party, and that of the major media. So that's what's going on here. It's like a gigantic battle, like in a Japanese horror movie, like the Godzilla era, and so on. This writhing, desperate writhing of the broken and smashed establishments. Now, whether Trump can emerge from all this wreckage with a new vision of things, we're still waiting to see what's going to happen. But my feeling is that if he stays on course to try to reform economic matters in this country,
especially those, right?
That he's going to succeed.
Look, people don't understand me, and I kept saying every day before the election, this is about people in poverty, on food stamps, out of the labor force, 51-year low in terms of home purchasing. I'm like, Mike, when do people give a rip about the heart and soul of this country?
Yeah, listen, what exactly did Obama do for the condition, of African Americans in the inner city?
It's worse.
Nothing.
It's worse.
I didn't vote for him the second time. I voted for Jill Stein the second election.
Now, you and I have to have a debate over global warming one day, but over
global
beer.
Warming? A debate? I think this whole climate change thing is a complete, fraud. What? I love.
All right, where do you teach again? Because I want to go watch. I want to sit in on one of your classes. Are you as manic in class as you are on the radio? Because I'd love that.
People have called me the academic Joan Rivers. I adored.
That's really fun. I liked her too. Yeah. She was. By the way, she and I got along great. We were friends.
Oh yeah.
All right. God bless you, Camille Paglia.
Thank you,
Sean. Appreciate it.